Welcome back to Fast Freddy RC, and today we're going to start the build process of the Tamiya Mazda RX7 on the TT02D DriftSpec chassis. So this is a drift car. Now what's really cool about Tamiya's Drift series is that they come with a lot of items that you normally would have to buy as upgrades on most TT02 kits. Now normally when I start a build, I tell you that the first upgrade you need to make is get yourself a set of ball bearings. Well, on a drift kit, the ball bearings are included in the kit. But not only that, the kit also comes with a sport-tuned motor. It also comes with an aluminum heat sink for the motor, because on drift kits, the motor is usually running at a higher RPM because the wheels are spinning all the time in order to drive it. So they're including the aluminum heat sink for this. The other thing they're including is a full set of oil shocks, which again, normally the TT02 series only comes with the friction shocks. So right off the bat, you've got ball bearings, you've got a sport-tuned motor, you've got a heat sink, and you've got the oil-filled shocks. So as a deal, if you like the TT02 chassis, it does come with a lot of things that you'd normally have to pay extra for to upgrade it. But I'm going to be adding a few other things to this just because. Because with all of these items, I thought, well, why don't we add a few more things? So I'm actually going to be adding an aluminum motor mount. I'm going to be adding the aluminum propeller joints. And if I'm adding the joints, well, we know we're going to be adding the aluminum propeller shaft. And I'm also going to be adding the aluminum ball bearing steering. And I'm also going to be adding, which I thought was super cool when I saw these, we're going to add some of these, Spec D series gold and silver tire rim set for the car, which I think looks super cool. And we'll see how those work out. I know the offset's different because these are a +6 and the ones that come in the kit are a +2. So I may need to do some adjustments to make these work, but I think these are going to look super cool on the car. And then on the last thing we're going to add, which I didn't know that I had these, we're going to add these Too Fast For You license plates, which makes super sense because as you'll know from a previous video and even in the unboxing video, which I'll put a link to right here, this is going to be Dom's car from the Fast and the Furious, and I even have a set of decals specifically for the car to turn it into his car from the movie. So this is too cool. So those are all the things I'm going to be adding to the kit. So now let's take a look at the manual for this. So if we open it up, I'm going to walk you through some of this fairly quickly. First off, they're actually telling you to find out from the body set what this is, because you're going to need to know what the wheelbase is. Now, my understanding with this car is it is on a 257 millimeter wheelbase, which means it's going to be the long version versus the short. You can see it's a standard is 257, the short 251. So that's going to have some bearing on how you build this kit. So I'm not going to worry about that. We know that this is going to be a standard kit. So then in step 2, charging the battery pack. Again, I don't know why they tell you this because we're nowhere near needing the battery for doing any equipment testing and getting the servo put into neutral, etc. So I'll be skipping over that pretty much when we get to the build. So for step 3, we've got the spur gear. So we're going to need to build that. Then in step 4, we're going to be working on the propeller shaft. And again, I'm going to replace all this with the aluminum shaft. The funny thing is the plastic one, I'm sure it's okay, but it's not that balanced. It's a very big, bulky thing. And I think by replacing this with the aluminum shaft, you're going to have a more a smoother and more efficient drivetrain. So we're going to replace all that. Then in 5, we're going to attach the propeller shaft and get it into the main chassis. Then in step 6, the differential gear, we got to build all that up, and we're going to need 2 of those because it's front and rear. Then attaching the differential gear on the front, so we're going to be doing that. Looks like we've got some bearings we're going to have to put in. Then in step 8, we're going to attach the front upper arms. Very cool. Snap a lot of these things into place, get them ready for the next steps. And then in 9, we're going to attach the differential gear in the rear, put that all together. And then in 10, attach the rear upper arms. And again, this is showing that if it was a short wheelbase, there's some other instructions, but this is standard, so we're going to be able to do that step as intended. And then in step 11, attaching the motor mount. Well, we've got our aluminum motor mount that we're going to be adding to this step. Then in step 12, we're going to be attaching the motor, and we're going to be adding the heatsink that comes with the kit. Very, very cool. And then in 13, we're going to attach the rear lower arms. Put that together. And then in 14, we're going to be attaching the rear bumper. In 15, attach the front lower arms. In step 16, we're going to be attaching the front bumper. A lot of the steps are repetitive, front and back in a sense. And then in step 17, we're going to be working on the front uprights, adding our ball bearings, etc. In step 18, we're going to attach the front uprights, get our main front end built and ready to go. Then in step 19, we're going to be working on the rear uprights. And then in step 20, we're going to be attaching the rear uprights. So again, kind of repetitive, but both we got to still do front and rear. Then in 21, we're going to be attaching the ball connectors. These will definitely be for the shocks. And then in 22, we're going to be working on the damper assembly. And of course, as I said before, most TT02 kits come with friction shocks, but the Drift series comes with the oil-filled shocks. So we're going to be working on those. We're going to be working on the damper oil in step 23. And then we're going to attach the rear dampers in step 24. And then in 25, we're going to be working on the front dampers. 26, we're going to be attaching the front dampers. We'll be working on that. And then in step 27, we're going to be working on the steering linkage. And again, this is where we're going to probably be starting to work with the aluminum one that I just picked up. So there'll be some changes with this as we put it together. Step 28, attaching the steering linkage. We'll get that done. And then in step 29, we're going to be checking the RC equipment. And this is where you're going to want your battery all charged and ready to go. Very cool. And I'll walk you through all of that. Then in step 30, we're going to attach the servo stay. 31, we're going to be attaching the steering servo. So we're going to place all that into the chassis. And of course, there is a receiver box here to keep all the dirt and grime out. So we're going to be doing that as well. And then in 32, we're going to be attaching the RC unit. So we're going to put everything into the kit. 33, the wheels. It says make 4, but again, I will be replacing those with the Yay Racing ones that I picked up. And then in 34, we're going to attach the front wheels. In 35, we're going to attach the rear wheels. 36, attach the rear body mounts. And then in 37, we're going to be attaching the front body mounts. Then in 38, we're going to attach the urethane bumper. Put that on so that we've got a nice big bumper on the front. Protects the car and the body, hopefully. And then in 39, we're going to be installing the battery pack. And then in 40, we're going to be attaching the body. And this is where it's going to be a surprise because I'm going to get the body all ready, deckled out. And in my reveal, we're going to actually go and run the car. So this is going to be a really fun build. I'm excited to put this all together and walk you through the build process of this. One of the comments that I keep seeing is, how's the steering going to be? Because a true drift car has a much, I guess the steering travel is a lot greater for drift racing. Well, I don't think it's much different with this compared to the TT02 standard chassis. So we'll see how it performs. So if you're wanting a true drift car, this may not be the kit for you, but at the same time, I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'll be very curious. I've got some, well, I won't tell you what I'm planning on doing with this. We'll just do it. But anyways, there is the manual overview. Here are all of the things we're going to be adding to the car. So I'll be getting started on this fairly shortly. And if you're interested in the car, interested in the Fast and the Furious, please do like, subscribe, and we'll see you in another video.